Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
and LJ. Today and every week we will be discussing musicals, but specifically what they taught us.
Hello. Aaron, is that recording by the way? Great, just checking. Just because we've faffed about for the last 10 minutes and I didn't know if has all of what's previously been said recorded. Oh wow.
There'll be a lot of editing.
There will be a lot of editing. Hello folks. I feel a bit of podcast rust.
I know, yeah, it's been a while since we've got together to do a podcast.
Life has been very busy.
It has been busy. But we also had a really exciting introduction to podcast.
Today, yeah. So we have just finished our first podcast being, how'd you say it? Being a guest on somebody else's podcast. Yeah.
And it was live.
I know. So some people might already have seen it and heard it. And if you haven't, it'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So we'll keep you posted. But how did you find being a guest on somebody else's podcast?
It was really interesting. I thought maybe we would have been really, really on our best behaviour as in we'll just answer questions, but actually we just were ourselves.
Ridiculous as always.
Yeah.
No. I also, because I was quite nervous going into it, but this is in my head I was going, this is a proper podcast. Not that I think our podcast isn't.
No.
But I was like, what am I going to be asked? But Martin was amazing.
Oh yeah, so it's Behind the Scenes Creative Academy, and if you follow us on our Instagram or TikTok, you'll see that I've been reposting and sharing some of his stuff. So do go on and and then we will let you know whenever the podcast is out.
He's amazing, and he talks to a lot of different creatives. Even the fact that he wanted to speak to us was really lovely too. It's like, are you sure?
I know.
So that was really exciting actually. So it did help me kind of settle back into the whole podcast malarkey.
Yeah, and we are going to be guests again on another podcast in a couple of weeks' time, which
is insane.
We're taking off.
We're just in such high demand at the moment.
Here we are also sitting in somewhere different.
Yes. We might, if you're watching on YouTube, go, oh, things have declined because we're kind of just chilling on the sofa today, aren't we?
We are.
But, needs must. We have to look after each other. And I'm looking after my co-host today. What's up, Lauren?
I have a bad back.
Terribly bad back. And after...
Really sore.
Yeah, after our guest appearance on BTS, poor Lauren could barely get up off the chair because her back was so sore. So I was like, nope, let's sit on the comfy sofas.
Yeah, but it'll be nice because whenever we are in the process of moving house, and we are going to be able to record in a room which will be like an office/studio, and we're hoping that we'll have a sofa in there, so it's kind of practice for them.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how we cope with the whole notebooks, microphone.
I know.
Sitting on a comfy sofa.
I kind of feel like I'm sitting weird on the sofa though.
Well, you have a bad back, so you'll be sitting weird anyway, Lauren. But also, anytime my backside seems to hit a sofa at the moment, I fall asleep.
Oh, please don't fall asleep.
Literally, so if you hear a halfway through, it's just me, because honestly, it seems to be anytime I sit down on a tired. So tired. Yeah, so tired. So much. I have been doing so much. We've all been very busy, which is why we banked up quite a lot of episodes, didn't we? Because we knew what was coming with different things. So it does feel like it has been a very long time since we did this. So,
but it's fun to be back.
A disaster. Yeah, it is lovely to be back, and we are ready. I think for a bit of rehab, the two of us. Just an hour or two of talking musical theatre and what it taught us.
The best thing ever. So we kind of are going old school again this week.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I know, because we've been quite...
Well, I mean, we did Seven Brides, which is still old, but I just mean with this one, it's more of that, what I would say, our type of show, like a Hoover show.
It's a golden gem of a musical, I think.
One of your faves, isn't it?
It is one of my faves, yeah. Because that was one of the questions I was worried we would be asked today. What's your favorite
because somebody was putting you through your paces.
Yes. And I'm like, I can't actually answer that because I suppose your favourite musicals it depend on what mood you're in.
100%.
And I also find like a lot of my favourites are like shows that you have an experience with, you know, or you were involved in, and I think that's why they are always just there as a favourite memory. Do you know what I mean? So I was worried that would come up today, and I was like, I don't know.
Oh, but speaking of like giving us questions, so if you listen to us on Spotify, or any other podcast channel, but Spotify in particular, you can now text us as you're listening to the pod. So up at the top, it will say like text me. If you click on that, it'll just take you to your messages on your phone, and you can just send us. Now we can't reply, so we don't get your number, and your number's not stored, anything like that. But you can send us little messages like, "We love you," and "You're great," and "Favorite pod ever." They're just some suggestions, but you know, feel free to add in your own.
I find Tim quite hilarious today.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was LJ talking about?
What is LJ on?
Yeah.
You know, what is wrong with LJ?
Nobody knows the answer to that question. Let's make, yes, that's an interesting new function available for all.
Yeah. So anyway.
You're forever educating our listeners.
But there's always something for them to engage with us on.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Stop changing your hand of the microphone because you're making a silly noise. Let's move on to what we are. Oh, here, no.
What?
Video of people. Lauren is actually wearing one of our tees today, our t-shirts.
And it is mispronounced lyrics are my speciality.
And where can you get your tees?
On T-mail, but if you go onto our Instagram, you'll be able to follow the link in our bio and just go straight from there. And you are drinking out of...
You see how I perfectly swapped hands with my microphone and didn't make a big clunky noise? I'm sipping from a musical lyrical lingo mug. Don't you hate people who slurp when they're drinking tea or coffee?
Oh, I don't like that. There's no need.
Nah, find some manners. Anyway, let's move on. We're not doing an etiquette expert episode today. We are doing our episode on what is the musical that we have already...
Crazy for You.
Crazy for You. And we've already heaped a huge amount of praise on it, so we may make sure this is a good episode. So, the Gershwin brothers, have you heard of them?
They ring a bell.
George and Ira Gershwin. Now, when I first came to it, first heard of George and Ira Gershwin, I wasn't aware of they were the Gershwin brothers. So I originally thought as a youngster, George and Ira were like a married like George and his wife Ira.
Yeah, I always thought Ira was a girl too. Yeah.
There's the first learnings of this episode. So the Gershwin brothers, George and Ira Gershwin, came back from the dead to breathe new vitality into this American musical with this show about reviving a dying town, and what a resurrection it was.
Oh, so good, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it's fantastic. And we haven't really done too many musicals like this where the creative team were no longer around.
I know, it's an odd one, isn't it?
They call it something. Is it like a death musical or something? No, that's so raw.
Is it not a resurrection? No?
Maybe a resurrection musical? No, because that would make it sound like it's...
Oh, it was dead.
The musical had been about and it kind of died a death, and then it was resurrected, it was brought back. It'll probably come to me at some point. Organised as always.
Yeah.
The Gershwins' reputation as a hit factory was confirmed with their 1930s girl Crazy, and that show is going to be very important as we talk about Crazy for You. The pair contributed such songs as Embraceable You and I Got Rhythm, I Got Music, I Got My Gal, who could ask for anything more, into popular culture. And the production made the reputations of both of its leading ladies too, because in Girl Crazy starred Ethel Merman.
I think we know her.
There's no business like show. But you see, I've been away for far too long. You're going to have plenty of singing today. And Ginger Rogers.
Oh, yes.
Then a film version in 1943 featuring Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney took significant liberties though with the plot.
I think it was more a suggestion of Girl Crazy and then just we're just gonna do whatever we want.
To be honest, I kind of got a wee bit confused whilst researching the history.
Okay.
Because it is a wee bit all over the place around the world for shortcuts, like pulling songs from numerous different Gershwin films and musical films and musicals and shows and all the rest of it.
I think it probably is just from the creative process where they started with Girl Crazy and then it ended up in but we like this song from
what songs
like
do
this
we
song
want?
from this one but I mean like some of those like old Hollywood ones did that, like Singing in the Rain did that. In 42nd Street there was a little bit of that too, wasn't there?
There was a lot of recycling going on back in the day, wasn't
there? Definitely was.
I mean, it should then create the most perfect musical, shouldn't it? Certainly musically, because you're taking the best from everywhere. I think we've probably, did we mention that when we talked about Singing in the Rain? Maybe.
What about?
I am having deja vu of this conversation about picking the best.
Yeah, I suppose we did.
Everywhere to create the perfect production. In between an adaptation of 1932 had taken the stage musical score more or less, but left little of its action. Now, the idea then that in 1992 somebody should announce a new Gershwin musical comedy is not so strange, even if George had been dead for half a century and Ara for almost a decade. Now, of the Girl Crazy's original 18 numbers, Ken Ludwig had kept only 5 for Crazy for You. Though the remaining songs and score were all taken from other Gershwin shows, as we've mentioned. Just a bit confusing.
I know, that's it. I just sort of like put it down into one sentence. It is based on the Brothers 1930s musical, but it includes several other production musical songs. You know, like that's pretty much Crazy for You in a nutshell.
You just paraphrased 4 hours of research
of your talking. Yep.
Great.
I know.
In the story, his own dreams of making it in show business having failed, Bobby Child is resigning himself to a career in his family's banking business.
Oh, and he does not want that to happen.
Definitely not. Until Bobby is sent on his first assignment to the town of Dead Rock, Nevada.
And it is Dead Rock.
It's a perfect name for it. The town apparently in permanent decline and inhabited by a bunch of idle cowboys.
Yeah, they're interesting characters, aren't they?
Yeah, again, does perfectly match its dismal name. The Gaiety Theatre is failing and Bobby must tell the owner that the bank is pulling the plug on its long-term loan, but Bobby falls in love with the place and shock horror, he falls in love with the theatre owner's daughter, Polly.
Of course he does.
She falls in love with Bobby too until she finds out who he is and why he's in Dead Rock, and then doesn't like him so much.
Well, I always got the impression that he falls like automatically in love with Polly, but she's, because it's quite quick that she does find out that he's there to take, she's like, so she's maybe not as in love with him at the beginning. No, is that just my take on it?
No, I thought then the story doesn't really make sense.
Okay, never mind.
And the only way Bobby can redeem himself in her eyes is to save the theatre, and he does that by impersonating.
Well, that's what I thought more.
But she falls in love, so she impersonates the director, Bella Zangler.
Yeah, and she falls in love with him.
She falls in love with Bobby, who she thinks is Bella Zangler. You know, like he's being himself, but he's just wearing
a disguise.
Do you know what I mean? He's still the same person, I think, is the point of the plot.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But she would never get to know the true Bobby if he didn't do that, because she's already kind of
decided that.
Yeah, like you're trying to shut down.
Okay.
My family theatre. You can go.
But there's plenty of interest in the theatre in the town, as in the guy that owns the bar, the post office next door. He wants to buy it, so it's not like they're but they just want to keep the theatre alive because it is so much.
He's buying it to not. Was he buying it to keep it as a theatre though?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So he's gonna turn it into a gigantic post office.
Yeah, which we all need.
Not in Dead Rock, Nevada.
That's what I
mean. So yes, and they mount the most spectacularly successful show. That's hard to say. Using the local cowboys as his casting.
I love it.
And a convenient touring trip of Follies girls.
Yes.
Who just arrive in Dead Rock.
It's definitely Amdram Community Theatre-esque, isn't it? Like, we'll just bring the local cowboys in and they can do that part.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen, don't underestimate the power of a cowboy singing and dancing skills. Especially wearing those boots and chaps.
Ooh.
Slap your fine, call me cowboy, all that. So it opened, the actual show, Crazy for You, opened in the Shubert Theatre, New York on the 19th of February, 1992. This feels like the most recent. Well, no, we did Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Jamie. How you doing? Glad you listened. No, everyone's talking about Jamie. So I was about to say, this is the most recent musical we've done for a while, date-wise, but then I forgot.
No, it's not really, because 1992 was like over 30 years
ago, so. I'm so old. Crazy for You won the Tony Award for Best Musical.
It did. It also won the Olivier in 93 and the Dora Award.
Yeah, in Toronto for Best Musical, yeah. And Susan Stroman also won the Tony for Best Choreography. And I think that has something to do with why I also love this show. Because I've seen it where the choreography's been like, whoa. So, yeah. Yeah, the London production opened in the Prince Edward Theatre, starring Ruthie Henshaw.
Yeah.
And the show ran for nearly 3 years.
It did.
And then the only other notable thing I've written down with regards to its background was in 2011, Regent Park Open Air Theatre did a revival of it, which I saw.
Did you see that one?
And has lasted in my memory ever since.
Oh, so then then it had a second revival there last year, in 2023, as part of the Chichester Festival.
Yeah.
With the wonderful Charlie Stemp, who we all know is the best Bert from Mary Poppins that there ever could be, playing Bobby Child.
Really
From there, it then transferred to the Gillian Lynn Theatre for a 30-week West End run. But it was kind of snubbed. It was completely snubbed, I think, in my opinion, from the Oliviers.
Yeah, however, my dad, the renowned theatre critic, he saw it and he didn't rate it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really quite surprised. Yeah, he didn't really rate it at all. And we all know, like, he knows what he's talking about.
He does, well, kind of Crazy for You, he's directed a few times or just once, but I mean, so
do you know what he said to me last night?
What?
He said, because I'll be honest with the listeners, he hasn't listened as much as he should be when, his son is recording and has recorded 50 whatever episodes. So I've already had that out with him, and then he said, but I did feel, 12 minutes of talking about mucking up the intro was a bit excessive.
I mean, we're not for everybody's taste.
Well, I said, so's your opinion, shut up. A bit excessive.
I think you've just added another 20 seconds of talking about mucking up the intro. I feel sorry for your father.
Can you mute him again? Thank you. We don't need any more voices like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be note that in the 1992 version, it was Judy Benson. She starred as Polly, and she is the voice of Ariel in Little Mermaid, and I love her.
I hadn't recognised that name, and I couldn't work out where from.
Yeah, she's Ariel in Little Mermaid.
She's Little Mermaid.
Whenever it first, because it only had a short run off. No, it was in Washington. It started in Washington and then moved to Broadway like 9 weeks later or something.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not quite sure, but critics loved it. And they said the critics loved it as it was the return of American musicals. They felt it took the title back from the British. It was a fresh show which was said to be missing during the Cats decade.
Okay, yeah.
And there really was that sense of we're American, we are good at doing those song and dance musicals, and they were so pleased to see it on stage.
Yeah, that it does make such sense because you listen to it and you watch it and you go, this is an American musical, but what is it? Like, what is it that makes an American musical an American? And please don't say because it was written by American creative. I get that. But what is it like?
I always felt that Crazy for You gave me the same feeling as 42nd Street. And I really couldn't tell you why, but there was just something about it. Is that a show within a show type thing? Is that what kind of makes it musical?
They do like that format. There's been quite a few of those, hasn't there? I also think it's a bit of a brasher, in your face kind of approach. I think there's more subtlety to some British musicals. Do you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of it, like quintessential American musicals in my head, now this is my opinion, shoot me if you don't agree, I don't care, are like loud and in your face and like rah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that is a key point, is that it's like, it calls a spade a spade. Is that the right saying? That's probably the wrong saying, but as in, you know exactly what it is going into it. You know that there's going to be some sort of love, people, like anything goes. Do you know what I mean? Like there's, somebody's maybe going to think that there's somebody else. There's going to be a love triangle. But at the end, it's all going to work out, and it's all going to be thrown in with lots of dancing, lots of singing, and spectacularly, it's going to be visually wonderful.
That's a good question to ask, isn't it? What makes an American musical an American musical? Other than it's an American.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because it is hard to explain. For me, anyway, I find it hard to explain. Here he comes again, his nibs.
My question would be, does that change through eras? So following World War II, those musicals that came out in the 50s, into the 40s, 50s, probably even into the early 60s, I think you referenced, or I'm thinking of, did you say White Christmas a minute ago, or 42nd Street?
Yeah. 42nd Street now.
42nd, sorry, I'm thinking White Christmas off the top of my head, where you've
White
got
Christmas
the military, they've got a show within a show as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Set of Christmas, you have like nostalgia, you've got that, people looking back in the war, and these people who are war heroes and that sort of thing. To me, whenever you're talking about something being American, that's what I thought of instantly, because it was very overtly American with the uniforms and that sort of thing. But do you think what makes an American musical would change? Would there be a time frame for? I'm waffling here.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So, like, was that the feeling of an American musical? Use quotation marks, air quotations there, up until say mid-60s, and then did it change? And then now, if you're looking at, is there one age of what's the singing one? Like rock music?
Oh, Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages, Ages of Rock. I was gonna say Rock of Ages. Would that be like a modern version of an American musical? Because it has that brashness, avert in your face, sort of rah that you were.
I feel like we're going very deep into this.
I don't know where it came. Like, I just went, what makes an American musical an American musical?
And it's funny though, maybe is it with, if there's cowboys in it, like that's definitely going to make it like American. But then whenever we talked about Calamity, it didn't do great in America, but it did great in the UK.
That's looking at the plot and the content of it. I'm going, like, you go and watch some shows like 42nd Street and Crazy for You, and you see it and you go, that's such an American musical because of how it looks or what it sounds like, or do you know what I mean? That's what there's a style that I feel is different from a British musical.
Well, maybe I'll pose this question: is it easier to define what makes a British musical, and kind of like reverse engineer the question? So break down what makes a British musical. It's this, it's that, or maybe.
I feel British musicals have more heart, and there's a subtlety to a British musical that isn't like, like in your face.
Yeah, I think it's just that. It's just American musicals seem louder, not necessarily in volume.
Yeah.
But just seem louder and bigger, and there's more going on.
And always seem to have a lot more big company full out numbers.
Yes. So think of like all those ones I've mentioned, 42nd Street, Anything Goes, Crazy for You, American in Paris.
Yeah. All of them are just like bam, 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 bam with big, massive, like full company dance numbers. They all have, every single one of them has a like different costume.
Yeah.
It's always bright and glittery and sparkly and showgirly and
Production value then.
yeah, maybe
Maybe that could be it as well.
The Americans have more money and they spend more money on their shows. Don't get me wrong, like I love an American musical, but I also love British musicals. I don't have a favorite as such, but I just went, what is it makes it like? But I think maybe we're getting closer to the answer. Maybe.
Final question I want to ask is there any other international markets that are known for the musicals? So we've got American, got British. Is there like French musicals, or
isn't it Germany or kind of coming, or is it Netherlands? There's one that is starting to kind of like.
The only way I would say yes for Hercules.
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah. And wasn't it Germany that did the first non-replica professional production of Wicked?
Yes.
It was, wasn't it? So maybe Germany is kind of like coming into their well, I was going to say Japan's massive for musicals, but is that not like international? Like the shows are taken to Japan.
Yeah, for
Bollywood. That's a type of musical, isn't it? Or, well,
is Bollywood not more? Did it not start film? Bollywood films
Bollywood,
first.
it would be films, but like there's musical films. Is that the same sort of thing, or is that more dance focus, or?
I don't know. Oh God, we're late now.
Gosh, here your dad's definitely gonna think we're rambling.
Listen, I don't think he's going to listen. I told him to stop listening. We'll move on to musical lyric language.
Yeah.
What did you learn?
So in I Can't Be Bothered,
I'm dancing and I can't be bothered.
It says Romania, and I did not know that is what Romania was called before. So it was a U instead of the O in Romania.
Oh.
Yeah. So it used to be Romania instead of Romania. Oh, that's so weird. Then I did go into like a rabbit hole on the internet, but I was like,
was that the line? Even if Romania wants to fight Albania.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked that up too, and I ended up not putting it in because I couldn't find the conflict that it was referring to.
Oh no, I couldn't find that, but I just was like Romania. Romania used to be Romania.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now is exactly how I felt most of my life. Because the lyrics actually say, bad news, go away, call round someday in March or May. I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now. Music is the magic that makes everything so shiny. Dancing makes my troubles all seem tiny.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, that was me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sorry, I thought you meant that I can't be bothered bit was you.
Yeah, I can't be bothered. I would rather dance a wee storm around my kitchen than actually do. I'm a terrible procrastinator anyway. But I can just use musical theatre and dancing as an excuse for that procrastination.
Love it.
He also sings, I'll peg the piper when times are riper. And I kind of thought that's quite an interesting idiom.
And where does that come from?
I don't know where it comes from, but it's when it's time to pay the piper, it's time to accept consequences for thoughtless and rash actions.
Yeah.
Do you know where it came from?
I don't know where it came from, but I just know it's an old saying, like, you know, it's time to wise up.
Pay the piper.
Yeah, we gotta pay the piper.
We did mention that most of the songs in Crazy for You are Gershwin's songs stolen from various other films or musicals. So I'm Dancing and I Can't Be Bothered Now actually comes from the 1937 film A Damsel in Distress. Just in case you're watching that and you go, that was on that podcast we're talking about.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything else from I Can't Be Bothered Now?
No.
Or could you not be bothered?
No, I can't be bothered. No, it's not from that one.
Alright.
I have the line, or is it Could You Use Me? From the song Could You Use Me?
I most certainly can't use you. Bum, 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 bum.
So he says, I'm no elk, mason, or woodman.
Yes, I had this too. Just trying to find it.
And this goes back to our gypsy episode.
Yeah.
Right? So Elks, there was Elks Lodges, Freemasons, and Knights of Columbus. So all like our Shriners, remember? Not all Shriners are Masons, but all Masons are Shriners. Can't remember the line, but yeah. So they were all general fraternities, which is an organised society of men, and that's what it's referring to.
Now, which of us is going to come across as stupid here? Is it you or me? Because I also looked that up. Bearing in mind, Dead Rock, Nevada cowboys, and I got an elk or a wapiti is the second largest species of deer.
Yes.
One of the largest terrestrial mammals. I'm already thinking I might be in the wrong here.
I think
in
you
North
are.
America. But hold on, a mason is also a person who is skilled at making things or building things with stone. So I'm no elk or mason or woodman who gets home at 3.
Yeah. But...
So I'm not a reindeer, a person who works with stone, or a woodman. Why would you have woodman in there?
But he's not going to say that.
But why would you have woodman? Like they're but 2 out of the 3 are trades. A mason or a woodman.
No, I think it's mine.
Okay, listeners, let's do a poll. Who do we think's right?
I think I am. Here we
go.
AP to tell us.
Just on another tangent, sometimes if you talk about somebody's elk, you're talking about the caliber, their quality. You know, if you're referring to somebody's elk.
Like in a tradesman, like the quality of the trade, the quality of the service they provide. I think I'm right.
Do you know what? Maybe we could both be right.
No, because that's what you do every time when you realise you're wrong.
No, I still don't think I'm wrong. I think
you are.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Let's see what the listeners say. We're so pulling that. I don't care. I'll take over the
fine.
Instagram this
Is he singing about Freemasons, or is he singing about general fraternities, like organisations of men, or is he talking about skilled men?
So, crazy for you. Could you use me? Go and listen to it first of all. The line is, I'm no elk or mason or woodman who gets home at 3. So you make your choice. Here we go.
But also I not saying this is for all people who are involved in groups, but they maybe like playboys and might go out and like not playboys, but they might go out and drink a bit and like come home till 3 o'clock. So maybe that's
like a mason or a woodman.
But why would they be out till 3 o'clock?
Because why would they not be? Sure.
Why would they be
after
out?
You've been on the at builders, after they've been out in the building site for the day, they go to the pub, don't they?
Do they?
Aaron is so looking at you going, he's right.
Who's right? Who's right?
You would need the wider context of the song, which I don't have. I think it's strange. It's a strange selection of words. Elk, I'm assuming, doesn't mean the mammal or the second largest type of.
But you would have them in Dead Rock, Nevada.
But you would
have.
Would
you?
Yeah, one of the largest terrestrial mammals in North America and Central East Asia.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they were in Nevada.
Is Nevada not in like North America?
It certainly is, but some animals are very specific to what area they're in. So you would maybe find them in one state in North America, but not across the board. But
they're in North America.
But so imagine they're elk, and the further north you go, you get more of those.
They're big boys, like.
Oh, I know.
Seen a picture of an elk?
Yeah. Well, I just think it's talking about Elks Lodge and Freemasons and Knights of the Columbus. That's what I think. But it's really good that we have got lots of different meanings. So we'll put a poll up and we'll see.
See me come out on top. Yeah. Okay. Happy days.
Whatever. Oh, and speaking of going and listening, we still have our playlist on Spotify. So any songs
that you do mention, because I totally forgot to do that.
So any songs that we mention on the podcast, you can go on to our Spotify list and listen to them.
So we move on to one of my favourite musical theatre songs ever.
Yeah, which is?
There's a saying old says that love is blind. Oh, someone to watch over me. Yeah. I love that.
It's beautiful.
It's only listening back to it in hindsight, there's a lot of biblical references to that song.
Yeah.
So she sings about, we're often told, seek and ye shall find. And that's a reference to Matthew 7 verses 7 and 8. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And then she sings about, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? Which is a nod to the parable of the lost sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one over the page? No. There's something else from the song, but not a biblical reference.
Yeah, well, I got those two, and then I had I'd like to add his initials to my monogram. Did you get that? So then I was like, a monogram, and it's a motif made by overlapping or combining two or more letters or graphics to form a symbol. So if you think of like Warner Brothers, Coco Chanel, or Yves Saint Laurent,
yeah,
like a YSL.
I like to add his initials to monogram. I love that line. I love how she sings it.
That was very like cabaret.
Ruthie Henshaw in this cast recording, it's some of the best I've ever heard her.
I love Ruthie.
So do I, but like Chicago is a given, like she is Roxy. But like in this, she's like class. Especially in Someone to Watch Over Me. Beautiful. It's a beautiful song.
It really is.
And she sings it beautifully. There you go.
Yeah.
Can I go back to Could You Use Me? They sing about go back to flappers and highball lappers. Did you get that?
No.
No? So flapper in the 1920s, a fashionable young woman intent on enjoying herself and flouting conventional standards of behaviour.
Oh.
And then highball, not eyeball, which is what I thought.
Oh,
misheard lyric time. Go back to flappers and eyeball lappers. Don't ask me why.
Well, highball is a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a glass, I think.
Is a mixed alcoholic drink composed of an alcoholic-based spirit and a large proportion of non-alcoholic mixer, which is just any other drink in my opinion. So I think you're right. It has to be in like
it has to be in a tall glass. Yeah, like tall, thin.
Yeah, and then a lapper I thought was interesting. Highball lapper.
Yeah.
A French lapper, according to Google, is to drink by licking it with the tongue.
Like a cat?
Laughing it up. So I don't know if that's what it means, or it could be because she's trying to be quite derogatory, isn't she? Like, go back to your other women, like go back to, you know, your flappers who flout themselves.
You just spoke earlier on the podcast about like people sipping their drink, but I think if I went somewhere and
could you imagine if you went to somewhere and they were lapping?
Oh, that is gross.
Isn't it gross? So they could be meaning that because they're trying to be so derogatory about.
Could be.
Yeah, you never know. Like.
Oh, but imagine if you went on a date, right? And you sat down, everything was going really nice, and then you were having a drink, like in your highball, and they started lapping it. I would run for the hills. I would be. Oh.
You'd be so grossed out, wouldn't you? Listen, it might just be a play on words in that it rhymed with flapper.
And we've just made something up.
Completely, but I mean, in
the
context of the line, it could make sense. Maybe Gershwin was clever.
Maybe.
Which one did the music? Which one did the lyrics? Or did it do?
Oh, I know. I have it written down.
Well done.
So lyrics was Ira and music was George.
Well done. Ira, the brother, not the wife.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you a wee test here to see how much you've remembered from back in the day. So I'm going to give you the introduction to the next song that I had a musical lyrical lingo, and we'll see if you know which song I'm talking about. It goes zoom, 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 zoom.
I know exactly what that is.
Zoom, zoom. What is that? Slap that bass, slap it till it's dizzy, slap that bass. Yeah?
Yep.
Great song.
Yeah. It's a good song.
Did you have any musical lyricals from that?
No, I didn't.
So they would sing, slap that bass, keep your Philharmonic. No,
yeah.
We obviously know or we've heard of like the Philharmonic Orchestra, but I never knew what that word Philharmonic means.
Oh, okay.
Devoted to music.
I never knew that too. I actually just thought it was a gathering of musicians.
Yeah. So there you go. Philharmonic actually means devoted to music. You're a Philharmonic person.
There's this like a 4D production, well maybe it's 3D production in Disneyland, and it's called Mickey's. I can never say that word. That thing.
What?
Mickey's, but.
Mickey's.
No. Say that word. I can't say it.
Philharmonic.
Yeah.
Mickey's Philharmonic.
Yeah, that's what that's the show is, and it's him doing like being orchestra. So maybe it's just showing that Mickey does love music.
There you go. Slap That Bass is the second song from the film Shall We Dance?
Shall we dance?
Shall we dance or keep on moping? Shall we dance or walk on air? I could sing. This is another one of these musicals I could sing word for word. It's so in my head. Shall we give in to despair? Or shall we dance with never a care? I'm about to ballroom round this living room. Life grows old. Or no, life grows cold. We're getting older. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's move on really quickly. Thank you. Could you use me as also the third song adapted from Girl Crazy?
Oh.
In case anyone out there is keeping up with.
Okay. Which ones are Girl Crazy?
The pinching of these songs from various different places. Talking about Girl Crazy, can we talk about I've Got Rhythm? That's another song that came from Girl Crazy.
I got music. I got man who can ask for anything more.
You got asthma as well.
No, that's how you've got to do it.
Really?
Rude.
No, maybe that's just how we did it.
It did sound like it just ran out of air, to be fair.
No, well maybe it's just how we
sang it. Was that not the dance routine that made us go?
Oh, maybe that's what it is, because I just knew that it was like, I got rhythm, I got music,
Old Man Trouble.
Trouble.
Because Old Man Trouble's one of my musical lyrical lingo. Well, you set that up so perfectly for me. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Old Man Trouble, I don't mind him. You won't find him round my door. He seems someone or something to be avoided. But in lots of literature and books, everyone is very vague about what kind of trouble he personifies or who Old Man Trouble might be.
I think it just depends on your personality.
Some think it might be reference to the devil.
Oh.
Interesting though, Old Man Trouble. Don't want him hanging around my door.
No. That's right. You don't. There you go.
Do you have any other musical lyrical English?
I have from Real American Folk Song.
The Real American Folk Song is ragging. And actually don't know the words to that. I've let myself down there.
Okay. So it says, for it's inoculated.
For it's inoculated with the syncopated. Yeah.
That's great. So that's the two lines that I have. So inoculated means to immunize against a disease. And then syncopated is displaced beats or accent so that the beats are weak and vice versa.
That's a syncopated beat.
See, we just go together so well because you just demonstrate everything I say.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
That's why we work.
Yeah. If somebody asked me to do that, I'd be like beaten out of time.
See, that goes back to Bugsy Malone when I had to stand beside the stage and tap out the beat. I was clapping the syncopated beat. So everybody who said, oh, bless them, he couldn't even clap in time, I was actually doing the syncopated beat. Nobody realised the talent I had, even at that age, to be able to deal with the syncopated beat. That was a choice I made.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I have another
weird
musical.
Though, inoculated, immunized, weird word to use.
I know, yeah, especially in that.
For it's immunized with a syncopated sort of meter.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Real American Folk Song is a rag. Comes from the 1912 musical Ladies First and was the first Gershwin song to be performed on Broadway.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was his first showcase of his work on Broadway.
Wow.
In Ladies First.
And it had a whole new life in Crazy for You.
Indeed-o, like many of these tunes.
I got from What Causes That. Is that a song?
What Causes That? That's a class one.
Life is bitter as chicory.
Life is bitter as chicory.
So I love chicory. Have you ever heard of Camp Coffee?
No, when I researched this, I went, what?
Oh, so it is like a bitter taste, but Camp Coffee was coffee that was it introduced in the war? I'm pretty sure it was introduced in the war because with rations you couldn't have real coffee, so it's like a liquid form. It's going to be another Horlicks. I'm going to make it for you one
Are
day.
you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
brilliant.
don't have any at the minute. It is quite actually hard to get nowadays. It reminds me of my grumps so much, the smell of it, because he introduced me to it. But I love a wee camp coffee.
I'm totally up for that experiment because I kind of feel this season we've been lacking something like that. We had our Horlicks debate last year. And then we haven't had that product yet. I mean, you haven't baked anything for me yet.
But I mean, my house is all up the left. So whenever we move into the new house, we'll have all of these treats.
Anybody listening like me who doesn't know what chicory was, it is a herb native to Europe and Asia, which is also grown in America. The chicory root has a mild laxative effect.
It does. So that is also a downside to camp coffee, is you can't take a lot of it.
So when I try it out, I'll make sure there's a wee loo nearby, or that episode could end. Very messy.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that then.
Yeah, I think you will like it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. In What Cause Is That, which comes from the musical Treasure Girl.
Oh.
Aren't you impressed?
Yeah, I'm very impressed. Yeah, you did really well.
Of these Christmas songs. They sing, if I could get a gun and bump this chump off. So basically what has happened is, I might have got this the wrong way around. Basically, Bobby has to impersonate the director that has come to help put the show on, called Bella Zangler.
Yeah.
Polly then falls in love with who she thinks is Bella Zangler, but it's actually Bobby, right? And Bella Zangler is in love with Tessie, one of the showgirls that's come, and I think Bella Zangler sings What Causes That, because he's getting advances from Polly and is like, no. He also knows that Bobby is in love with Polly, and he's like, oh no, I am stuck in the middle. And I'm talking like this because he's Hungarian.
Yes, yeah.
So he's like, it's quite a entertaining song, because throughout the song he's like, how can I end this? I could just get a gun and jump off, or jump off the nearest bridge, or it's all very funny. But that word chump, I thought was quite interesting. A chump is a foolish or easily deceived person.
Oh, such a chump.
You're such a chump.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
I like it.
Any other musical?
My last is just, where did the expression stiff upper lip come from?
Stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Stuff fellow.
Which means do not show your feelings, but it actually came from the Spartans, they believe. Which very strange.
Really? Because I thought it was coined a phrase during the war, like stiff upper lip, lads.
Well, maybe it just became in more popular.
Yeah.
Culture,
more well used,
but
there was origins to it before that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was more like you're such a young lad, you're going to be going out to fight, so stiff upper lip, just get it. And then it kind of evolved into what we know now.
There you go. I have a musical lyrical from that too. And I thought it was just a play on words when I did I was in the musical. They sing sober or blotto, this is our motto, because I just thought blotto rhymes with motto, but actually blotto means extremely drunk.
Does it?
Yes, you're blotto. Did you know that?
Blottoed?
Yeah, blottoed.
Oh,
I know.
You see, we would make up words to mean drunk, so maybe if I'd heard that before, I maybe just thought it was because I love that skit some comedian does, and it's like, you can put anything. I was so caravaned last night, and you know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So blotto, extremely drunk. That was me last night, but no one's joking you. So there we go. I think that's it. Have I missed any? I kind of in my head had more, but I don't. I think I've done them all.
Yeah, no, well, you're at that page. You usually go in order, so.
Well, no, because the first one you mentioned was Could You Use Me, which wasn't on the first page of.
No, the first one I mentioned was I Can't Be Bothered.
Can't Be Bothered, yeah. One or the other. Let's not be pedantic.
Okay, connections to Z Musical.
Z Musical?
Like Z Musical.
Girl Z.
Yeah.
Girl Crazy, No Crazy for You. Was it 1998?
Which is really funny because it was a really new musical then.
100%.
Isn't that class? I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, well, so we would have been involved in an amateur dramatics company called Upstage Downstage. Great name, first of all. And to be fair, they were quite ambitious with their choices of shows. Do you know what I mean? After their first, which was Godspell and then Joseph, they did a 42nd Street, then they did a Crazy for You, you know, and I thought, actually, that's really quite brave. And yeah, only having researched for this podcast, I didn't realise it was only originated in 1992. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like really fresh. It was the Northern Ireland premiere, go figure.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So was involved in it. I think Wyatt the cowboy. So first of all, I'd never even heard of Wyatt as a name. I was like, why what? So I was Wyatt the cowboy and thoroughly enjoyed the show. Music probably was a big part of it because the songs were fantastic. It was fun being a stupid cowboy. Not all cowboys are stupid, but Wyatt was.
Yeah.
And had great fun with it. We did really cool things like one of the things I learned was just how many random objects you can use as a musical instrument, because that's exactly what we did in I've Got Rhythm. Like we picked up loads of trash, like different trash, and we incorporated it into that song. Slap that bass. We made like double basses using the girls and like big bits of rope. It was just a really creative, cool, and at that time as a young kid, like it was just really exciting and like new and different and fun. But the numbers were, as we said, were big and brash and in your face, and there was just lots of fun to be had.
Yeah.
And you got to tap. So any show that you got to tap at that time, I was like, yep, I'm in.
Score.
Were you in that?
I wasn't in it.
That was the one you weren't in.
No, I wasn't in that one. But I could still I can still visualize it. It's playing in my head right now. Slap that bass number.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Maybe I must fall in love with it. But how many years later, and I still know exactly where you all were on the stage
and what we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it was really special, and I think the fact that you were the first group to do it meant nobody knew what they were coming to see. Like it was just really exciting. So that was my first memory of it, and then as I said earlier, I saw it in Regent Park Open Air Theatre in 2018. Is that what I said? Or was it
2011?
2011. And I still remember the choreography to this day.
Wow.
Because I went wow. I went, oh my goodness, like that's the most incredible choreography I've ever seen. Also, it was the first outdoor musical I had seen, which in itself was a really special, different experience. But it was stunning, and to be honest, I did want to see the most recent revival in the West End, and just scheduling and time it wasn't going to work. So I was, in a weird way, properly delighted when Dad said that. I didn't think it was very good. Because I was a wee bit bummed out that I wasn't going to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are my links to it.
I loved I think it's PBS do a special, and it's one of the American versions of it, and you can watch it on YouTube. But I remember watching that in America.
Oh wow.
Yeah, okay, I got to see it. You know, it was just on TV or whatever. So yeah, just watching like a film musical on TV. It was probably one of the first ones.
Yeah.
You know, after that, then it was Oklahoma, you know, at the National and stuff.
But honestly, like, just so cool. Like in that Regent Park, they strapped dustpan lids to their feet, and you know, use them, and I've Got Rhythm, and like it was just brilliant. It's also very funny.
It is a fun show.
It's a fun show, and that whole Bella Zangler, you know, when Bobby is impersonating him, there's then this scene where Bobby and Zangler are face to face drinking, and they're both like, Bobby is dressed as Zangler, so it's like Zangler thinks he's looking at himself in the mirror, and it's very, very funny. Like it's it's funny the things you remember from it.
Yeah.
I remember there was a big massive car as well at the very beginning. I Can't Be Bothered Now. That number where Bobby gets out of the car and then like about 15 to 20 dancers get out after him, and it was really cool, like seeing all of them getting out of a car as such. There was a lot of like tricks that had to be done. I remember, you know, like it wasn't the easiest show to put on, because there was, you know, when like these people who write musicals go, and then
something bizarre.
20 dancing girls get out of a taxi. You know, we were going, well, how do you do that? Like, how do you fit 20 girls into a taxi? How do you get a taxi on stage? You know, like for amateur theatre, you're not working in the West End, which has wing spaces the size of. I also remembered there was like a shootout, a comedy shootout in the bar between the cowboys, and one of them fires a gun, and you know, in the script it's like the bullet bounces off, boom, you know, like different things, and then eventually hits the cuckoo clock, which then explodes, and the cuckoo comes flying, you know, dropping out. And it's like, yeah, how'd you do that? I don't know how they did it, but they did. Like, we had an exploding cuckoo clock, which was really cool. So like every night you were like looking forward to that bit, going, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Because you knew we get the reaction as well from the audience, because people in Bangor don't see a cuckoo clock exploding just like, you know, randomly. But
shit out with cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was just fun.
Yeah.
Really
fun.
I
remember that big seeing it. It was a really fun show. Yeah, and that's the only time I've ever seen it. Obviously the TV special, and then you guys. But I love it. I do love it.
And it's a great show for companies to do, but I think because it's difficult to do, it's difficult to do all those things, that it's maybe not. And it's, to this day, it's still not well known.
No.
Which is such a shame, because it's up there with one of my favourite musicals. Do you know what I mean? I think because of the experiences you've had with it. But the like, Gershwin is incredible. Like, his music is brilliant. And the fact that this was made with just all their best songs put into one show, just brilliant.
I think so. I think that's what makes it magical too. We also, in our Hollywood section that we did Can't Take That Away.
Yeah.
So I
like
that.
The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea. I think I sang that song too.
I think you did, yeah.
The memory of all that. Oh no, they can't take that away from me. Yeah. No. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Nobody wants to hear me singing anymore.
Well, we do love your singing. Any standing ovations?
It's really hard, because like I love I've Got Rhythm. I love Slap That Bass as chorus numbers. There's also real. Do you know that Naughty Baby number? Yeah. Which is that is Polly's father, isn't it? And then Irene, Irene is Bobby's fiance, and she chases him to Nevada. And then when she gets there, she realizes he's fallen in love with Polly, and she ends up like having this really funny, like,
and she's really rich, isn't she? So
yeah. So I love that Naughty Baby. That's just another like extra like gem in this musical. But the two numbers that stand out are Embrace Me, You Sweet Embraceable You, and Someone to Watch Over Me.
Yeah, Someone to Watch Over Me is my self-innovation.
It's one of the best musical theatre songs I think ever written.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a lovely musical, and if you're not familiar with it, which, like you said, probably some people are maybe only hearing this for the first time, do give the original soundtracks, cast recordings of both the West End and Broadway version a listen.
That 1992 cast recording with Ruthie Henshaw is brilliant. You don't need to go anywhere else, because it's absolutely brilliant.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah, I really did. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it whenever there's a musical.
It is one of those ones we could now continue to gush about this musical for the next 30 minutes.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we could, because even like I forgot about Naughty Baby there completely, and I went, oh my goodness, like, and I think that would continue if we kept the recording button.
And there's
going.
like a gypsy element. There's a line about being a gypsy in it, which I think that's where I always think it's a mixture of 42nd Street and Anything Goes.
Yeah, she sings you and you alone bring out the gypsy in me.
Yeah. So I think that's where I'm like, oh yeah, this is very much an American musical, to go back to what we were saying. Yeah, it's got all those elements all together. Yeah, it's great. Well, we're going to come back next week. And we are going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, we've kind of it's almost a bit like a wee challenge, isn't it? We've given each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about
Yeah,
this.
Are you saying any more, or are you just leaving it at that?
No, Alex, so a couple of weeks ago, I gave Timothy 5 suggestions, and he gave me 5 suggestions.
Of musicals?
Musicals.
But they were lesser known or new musicals.
Yeah. And then we had to choose one and research it.
And
that's what we've done.
Yeah. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 next week. We also haven't researched each other, so we know what we've chosen from our given lists, but we haven't, other than listening to a cast recording of the other's musical, we haven't learned anything about it. So next week will be a lovely live learning process for both of us. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be great.
And I think we've chosen really good musicals, actually.
I think we have chosen musicals which are a little bit of us in the musical.
I think that's why we probably chose them.
I think
subconsciously,
so.
that's why we
about that.
We were directed to the ones that we were attracted to the ones we were attracted to. But yeah, so that'll be a wee bit different next week.
That'll be good. So
until then.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.